Hello, and welcome back to Rigging Up. Today, we have a treat for you. I've got with me two people that don't play Netrunner. One of them's played a bit of Netrunner, one of them has been shown cards and told the rules. Hopefully, between the two of them, they're going to tell us how good the cards in the upcoming set are. So, why don't you introduce yourselves and give us a bit of information and context on you and your history with this game? And we'll start with Fally, who's been on the show before.
Hey, yeah, I'm Valentin. I dabble in a few different card games. These days, I mostly play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I played a little bit of Netrunner, so I've played a bit of SEB and a bit of BTL. So I'm hoping to see some actual red SEB cards in this set instead of blue ones like last time.
Hi, I'm Lucy, but for the complexity's sake, I'm going to be Lou tonight. I have never played a match of Netrunner. I am honestly at heart a wargamer. I play a lot of BattleTech, play a lot of Gaslands, used to play a lot of X-Wing when that was big, but my TCG experience is basically limited to playing Pokemon TCG occasionally on a kitchen table, and I've been near Netrunner games, but never actually played. Although I did play some of Heart of Crown recently, a boxed card game. So I've done some of that, but yeah, very limited experience.
Okay, so someone that's barely a card gamer and an avid card gamer that's got a bit of Netrunner under their belt, but mostly lives in the Yu-Gi-Oh world. And we'll start by getting your assessment on Underdome Irregulars. This is a criminal card, so it's played by the runner side. It costs 1 to install, and then once it's installed, when your action phase ends, if a piece of ice was rezzed this turn, draw 2 cards or remove 1 tag. If no ice was rezzed this turn, trash this resource. So what this card asks of you is it says, every turn that you can get the opponent to invest resources keeping you out of running servers and breaking in, you get to draw 2 cards. And if they don't do that, you lose this resource.
Right.
What do you think, Lou? What's your little card game brain saying?
It seems a little bit specific, but as far as I can tell, it's pretty cheap to use. I know an ice is like a trap sort of thing, right?
They're the like persistent tools
yeah.
that keep the opponent from hacking in.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we rating these out of 10, or do I just say, do I think it's good? Do I think it's not?
Do you think it's good? Do you think it's going to live in the binder?
I definitely don't think it's one for a binder, but I don't feel like it's a top tier card at all, right? Like it's very much like I know it's a bit specific, I guess.
Yeah. You think that there'll be decks that play it, but it won't be in every single blue deck?
Yeah, definitely. I don't think it'll be an essential pick from what I can tell. But yeah, I don't massively understand the card.
So I think this card is bad, is my first initial reason, my first initial guess. And this is simply extrapolating from, I think in Magic they call these cards Punisher effects, where you give your opponent a choice. This is essentially what this card does, right? If you slap this down, you start a run, you give your opponent a choice. You let me in, or I get to create advantage. And generally speaking, giving your opponent a choice is not a good thing. Yeah, generally, you want to be making the choices, right? Because presumably your opponent is going to make the correct choice for them, which is usually the bad choice for you.
So I'm going to point something out. This card says when your action phase ends, if a piece of ice was rezzed this turn, it doesn't say the first time each turn a piece of ice is rezzed, which means you can play it after they res a piece of ice and you're guaranteed at least 1 turn of value.
Yeah, which makes it, I mean, it definitely stops it from living in a binder, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair. That does make it significantly better for sure, yeah.
So worst case scenario, this card is 1 credit, draw 2, which is way below rate for this game, right? I've shown you both 0 credit, draw 3.
Yeah.
Importantly, it is blue, and currently the best card draw in blue is 2 clicks, 1 credit, draw 4, or is 1 click, 4 credits, draw 4. That's like the best rate in blue right now. But obviously you can just build your deck around that and bring in some green cards that have better draw. But it's not just 1 credit for 2 draw, it's 1 credit for 2 draw, and your opponent doesn't get to res ice on their next turn, or it's 1 credit for 4 draw. So that's sort of the value proposition being put forward here.
I will say, I'm very unexcited about 1 credit draw 2. I'm even less excited about 1 credit draw 2 at the end of my turn.
So it is the worst draw timing. It's when your action phase ends, not when your discard phase ends. So if you draw over 5, you will have to discard. which means it doesn't act as kill protection. It doesn't keep cards in your hand going into the next turn.
Yeah, I think
Which
I'll stick to my initial.
The 4 credit draw 4 is kill protection. It fires at discard phase ends instead of action phase ends.
I'd actually like to lower my answer. I'm gonna say that like this may live in a binder, but like a loose pocket, you know? Like this may get sleeved occasionally, right? For like a I'm really torn about this one. Because I feel like it could work in, especially if the draw rate on blue is shit as is.
Yeah,
I feel like
blue
this
is
might be more
really
useful.
struggling for draw. Blue has the worst draw of any faction.
So I feel like forcing your opponent to either not res ice or give you fucking draw is nice.
So the other thing blue has lots of is tools like Window of Opportunity. There's another one called Magnetic Rapid. There's a bunch of cards in blue that let you force de-res your opponent's ice, potentially letting you extend this out further.
Right, so actually it will combo with Window of Opportunity. So you can knock out their ice and then give them sort of like punish them for resurrecting it.
Exactly. So what window of opportunity basically then says either they can pay to res it again and keep you out, or they can get it for free. Either way, they're firing a res and giving you underdome value.
Oh fuck, I kind of like that actually. Shit, that sounds good. Now that you've added context to the second card, this sounds so much better.
Does that line of reasoning change your evaluation, Valley?
No, I'm still leaning on it's not a good card. I think it will find a home in extremely aggressive decks like Mercury.
Yeah, you're thinking you want to like turn 1 slam ice, they res, you slam it down. Turn 2 transfer, they res, slam it down. Turn 3 window, and you're just like trying to wheel them through as much res as possible.
Yeah. I think if there's a home for this card, I think instead it's in that sort of deck. Unlike Click Economy, removing a tag is worse than drawing 2 cards because like
unless you have an amanuensis installed.
Okay.
And now we've entered Christmas land.
I love that console, but I don't think you're importing it to blue. And Seb already imports 12 influence worth of blue cards, so I don't think you're importing this to Seb.
Seb has no spare influence. So well, let's move on then. You've both given kind of a low mid evaluation of Underdome, which is in line with the community consensus, I think. The next card, Stick and Poke. This is similarly a resource. This time it's in Anarch in the orange faction. And it says, the first time each turn you encounter a piece of ice, it gains subroutine do 1 net damage, the runner draws 1 card, before its other subroutines for the remainder of that encounter.
That's a free fucking play, right? Because of the 0 on the top, or is that
well, it costs you a
money
click to install it, but yes.
Yeah.
The question is, do you want to install it? Because it shoots a card out of your hand and then draws you a replacement on every piece of ice.
I don't know.
One should maybe mention that Anarch is the faction that has synergy with cards that want to be discarded.
Yeah, they have a card that says if this gets shot out of your hand, gain 2 credits, and they have a card that says if this gets shot out of your hand, draw 3 cards. Sorry, draw 2 cards.
But you have to kind of hit it randomly off this one. You don't get to choose what you discard.
That's really dangerous because that could break combinations that you're setting up or planning to draw. I feel like this is a really fucking reckless card.
That is the Anarch way.
Yep. Get value or die trying is the kind of name of the faction.
That one doesn't even live in a fucking binder. That's going in my wallet or something.
You're gonna get dog ears.
Possibly gonna get a hairband around it. That's
you on the same.
Yeah, I think I agree. This card doesn't do anything.
So
like this card literally does nothing. It gives you some very questionable card filtering.
I'm gonna bolt on the context of so there is an identity that was seeing some play, but then a key card it needed in order to function got banned, and that was a card that just turned all the subroutines into taking damage. This is sort of intended to be Rio support. So Rio is an identity that the first time you make a successful run, after subroutines fire, you get to gain a credit and the corp has to discard a card from their hand. And so this gives you a way to guarantee Rio fires. Now, Rio has seen no competitive play since Bankar was banned. And so the question is Stick and Poke enough to bring Rio back into consideration?
But this...
I'm going to go with
this doesn't actually help with resolving Rio. right? Because you still need an ice to bolt it on. Well, you still need an ice to encounter in the first place.
But it means if the ice is all end the run subs, which there is a bunch of ice, which is just different numbers of end the runs, then it gives you a subroutine you're happy to let fire.
I'm still gonna go with it being pretty weak. I can't lie. If it's sort of random discard.
Yeah, in Eternal, there's ways to control the discard, but in the standard format, there isn't.
Yeah, if I recall, Rio was like an okay deck before Banhar got the axe.
Yeah, and then became unplayable.
So playing this very bad card, because this Banhar this does not get you into anything that you're not already getting into.
Yeah, and I don't know much about sort of Netrunner, but I do know enough about TCGs to know that randomly discarding from your own hand is incredibly fucking dangerous.
So we're on the stick and poke gets to live in the binder. If that, maybe you just like throw it away when the set arrives.
Yeah, I might just use it as Kindle. Honestly,
yeah, I mean the real powers are gonna play it, right? This deck has I think a pretty big fan base just based on the text that it has on it. But I don't think you're sleeving this up if you're trying to win.
Well, that ends our segment of new ways for the runner to interact with the corpse ice, and brings us on to bad publicity. So we've seen enough cards now to have a good indication that this set is going to have some bad publicity synergy going on. Now, probably need to explain what that is or for Lou's behalf. So you remember how I taught you that the game's economy is all based on credits? Well, with bad publicity, for every bad publicity the corp has, the runner gets a free credit for every run.
Shit, okay.
So bad publicity really helps your opponent generate value, but in exchange, the effects that give the corp bad publicity are expected to be very above rate.
So it gives you like a burst benefit.
So we'll have a look at Vulture Fund. 7 cost, gain 14, take 1 bad pub. So this is gain 7 credits for a bad pub that needs 7 to play. Now, to put this into perspective, without bad pub, the equivalent card is 10 to gain 15. So you only gain 5, and you need to have 3 more credits to play it in the first place.
I mean, that's the 14 currency you're gaining. That's the like money, right?
Yeah, only 7 because you have to pay 7 for the card.
Yeah, I mean, 7. I guess it's pretty good. I mean, if you're, I feel like this is a good back pocket card. You know, like if you're desperate for money, like you're like equal with the runner, and you really need that leg up in a game, then maybe it would be useful. I find it hard to believe just randomly gaining a fat chunk of credits is a bad thing in a card game.
No, resources
It
good.
absolutely is not.
All right, Fally,
Yeah.
what's your evaluation?
I think this card is terrible if you're planning to play actual Netrunner. If you're playing this to generate money and then the runner gets to make a bunch of runs, it's not good. If you're playing this to spike up to some money that lets you combo kill the runner, it's extremely, extremely good.
So you think it'll be seen as like a combo enabler?
I really struggle to see this outside of like if you play this card, you want the game to end in like a turn or two.
So I will say,
because otherwise
there is a Wayland turns money into you in the game combo sequence available currently. It is not. So for 18 credits and 5 exact cards in hand, Wayland can just win. You do need to get those 5 exact cards in hand, and you do need 18 credits, but you can do that given enough like draw and money generation.
Well, I mean, that makes this an instant pick, right? Because if you can just win the turn you play it, the bad publicity is completely negated.
You wouldn't be able to win the turn you play this. You need the whole turn and 5 exact cards and 18 credits to pull off the 1 turn kill.
So it'd be really, really specific conditions that would be a massive pain in the ass to actually.
Yeah, people do it. There is a deck that makes it slightly easier, but it's not a super tier 1 strategy that sees a lot of play right now. And the issue it has is about equal between having enough money and actually getting the combo cards into your hand.
Well, I think if you're playing this card with a fair game plan where you're expecting like the game to go on for a few more turns, I think you're just better off playing government subsidies, because this makes 2 more credits over government subsidies and slightly more flexible.
Yeah, it's cheaper to play.
But those 2 more credits are gonna be recouped real quick by the runner.
So I think it's worth comparing this with the card that it is ostensibly a retrain of. which was an older card called Too Big to Fail, which gave you 7 and a bad pub for nothing, but you could only use it if you were already poor.
Now that's what I thought Vulture Fund was sort of. That was my initial reaction to Vulture Fund as, oh, it's a leg up, right? If you're in a bad spot. But this is an actual leg up.
Yeah, if you're at 7 credits, you're already not in that much of a bad spot.
Yeah.
Too Big to Fail also technically trashable.
Yes, Too Big to Fail the runner can get rid of, whereas Vulture Fund is harder to interact with.
Right.
If you're paying, if runner pays 5 to trash this, I think you're still very happy.
It's also worth noting that it's easier to splash Vulture Fund outside of green than it is Too Big to Fail. I don't think that any other faction than green has the money to actually play a Vulture Fund, so that's probably a moot point.
Yeah, but I think I'm sticking to my initial evaluation here. I think this card is really, really good if you're doing something unfair and really bad if you're not.
Yeah, whereas Too Big to Fail saw play in a whole range of decks.
Yeah, because that can spike you out of a bad situation.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like Vulture Fund would be pretty good if you had the specific cards to combo with it, but if you don't, and you don't have a method of drawing them, then yeah, it's kind of shit.
Next up, we're going to show you a card called Nihilo Agent. This is another bad publicity card that's doing something a bit weird. And so I'll read it through. It costs 1 to activate. It's a corp card. It has to stick on the table, and the runner can get rid of it for 3 credits if they can hack into it. When you res it, it gets 3 counters. And then, when your turn begins, you remove a tag and a bad pub. And when your turn ends, you give the runner a tag and you take a bad pub. And it does that for 3 turns until removed.
All right. So again, on baseline, this card does nothing. All right. If you put this out and it turns and it goes back to you, the card has literally done nothing. So the idea is you give your opponent a tag, and then all the yellow ice is empowered while they have a tag.
Yes, there is.
I assume is
a lot of yellow ice that will say if the runner is tagged on it.
And so that's kind of the angle this card is going for.
With the risk that if they trash it, you've just given them a free bad pub that's not getting removed.
Well, not free. They have to clear a tag for it, but yeah, still not great.
3 trash isn't exactly the most expensive to trash either, is it?
It's up there. It's not cheap.
Yeah, normally cheap is 1 or 2, 3 is mid, 4 and 5 is expensive.
Okay, so it's middling. So would it be advantageous for the corp if the runner trashed this?
If the runner trashes it and clears the tag, then the corp's just given them bad pub. And the bad pub doesn't get cleared.
The corp's given themselves bad pub?
Yeah, the corp's given themselves bad publicity.
Okay, yeah. But I'm going to go with it's kind of shit then, because, as a runner, like, what was it? It's clicks to trash things in Netrunner, right?
So it's money to trash things, but you need to actually hack into the server. So you have to spend a click to make the run to hack in.
Yeah, no, 3.
And get through whatever empowered ice because you presumably have a tag.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I mean, fucking 3 money, 3 money to get a free bad pub seems like a no-brainer, right? For a runner, because
it's worth noting you can also spend that bad pub to get rid of this, so it's kind of only 2 to trash.
Oh yeah, I guess shit, you're right. Oh fuck. Yeah, no, that makes this dog shit actually. I get what they're going for if yellow ice is all about sort of tagging someone before you bag them, but yeah, that's just ass. That's just free bad pub for your runner, unless I'm missing something.
I think what you're missing is the next card I'm going to show you.
Right.
So for a long time in Netrunner, there was a card called the Outfit, which was an identity that basically just made absurd amounts of value off of bad publicity. And there have been cards that basically just drip you a bad publicity every turn and say that's fine. Now, the card was bad and it never really saw play, but it was designed with that kind of deck in mind. This is a slightly less awful one because it also removes the bad pub, so it gives you the bad pub and then it gets rid of it, while giving you that similar drip of bad publicity. And it's intended to help support, one must assume, the editorial division ad nihilum. So this is a new identity that's coming out in Vantage Point. It is in the yellow faction. And it says, the first time each turn you take a bad publicity, you may search R&D for one non-agenda, Black Ops, Grey Ops, or Liability card and reveal it. Add that card to HQ.
Ooh,
so liability cards are the cards that generate bad pub. They used to be illicit. So any older cards that say illicit are liability. And Black Ops and Grey Ops are cards that, as a general trend, just murk the runner. I will drop 3 examples into chat for you. So you can see we've got Measured Response, the classic Wayland, I have money, you are dead card. Oppo Research, you are now buried in so many tags you're never digging yourself out of the hole. And end of the line, you had the audacity to be tagged, so I've shot you in the head. So that gives you an idea of what this identity gets access to.
Yeah, that's insane. Well, yeah, I mean that makes fucking sense now, because like this who was it? Nihilo Agent felt like basically just a waste of a card. Free bad publicity. But I guess if you're playing it with the editorial division, then you want that because it allows you to put some of these nuts fucking things in your HQ is your hand, right?
Yeah, straight into your hand.
Yes,
This is add
straight
from
in your hand. Yeah, that's crazy.
Add from deck to hand.
Yeah, that's fucking nuts then.
And it's worth noting that an obvious opening combo you have with this is Nihilo Agent fires end of turn, gives you the bad pub. Use Tutor for Oppo Research. The opponent now knows you have an Oppo Research in hand, which means if they run and trash the Nihilo Agent, they're getting buried under 2 to 4 tags next turn.
Shit. Yeah, I mean that makes Nihilo Agent really powerful if played with the editorial division. Yeah, I mean that's just like a must pick for editorial, right?
Well, I really hope this idea isn't good. As my immediate thought. This seems miserable. Like, bury the runner in tags and then shoot him is already what yellow kind of did. I think it got nipped in the bud a little with one of the cards getting banned.
Yeah, after Reality Plus got banned, yellow hasn't been giving people tags and shooting him in the head basically for like a year now, maybe a year and a half.
Now, wasn't there, what is it called? What's the other yellow card that got banned recently that shuffled cards back?
Oh, touch-ups. Yeah, no, touch-ups also was kill support that has been banned. So Yellow's ability to bury you in tags and shoot you is currently at an all-time low for evaluating editorial division.
I mean, this combo kind of feels like it's going to be a bit of a return to form then. Time to start shooting runners in the head once more.
Well, from what I've heard, everyone but yellow has been shooting runners in the head, and those are the decks that are actually good. So.
Green and purple have been green and red have been shooting people in the head. Purple has not been. Purple has been putting 12 ice in front of one server and saying you're not getting it.
So what I'm hearing is we're so back yellow.
I think that's what many people would love to believe.
So I like more conceptually, I think it's interesting because the last bad pub identity was in Wayland. Yeah, and I think it makes more sense for Wayland to take bad pub for like their general game plan, right? Because yellow, like NBN usually wants to really grind the runner down with its ice, because none of the ice actually stops you. It's just all resource drain. So taking bad pub is really bad for that game plan, where Wayland has actual ice that does just say no. And if you just don't have the right tools, it doesn't matter how much money you have.
One of yellow's most powerful ice is a liability and does generate bad pub already. It doesn't see much play right now because the opportunity cost of giving the runner a bad pub is pretty big. Except for it saw a lot of play in the yellow kill combo deck that was popular at the end of the last meta before rotation. Because again, it's a kill combo. You don't really care about giving the runner drip credits.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this, especially with the cards this fetches, I think this is definitely very heavily leading you towards that kill combo angle, where it doesn't matter how much bad pub you have if the opponent is dead.
But it is a very telegraphed kill combo.
Yeah, but it's not like the runner really has a choice when they walk through it, right? Because if they know your editorial division and they know you're playing Nihilo Agent, they kind of just have to accept the tag, right? Because they can't trash it without giving you a free Black Ops card.
I wonder, is there a fast advanced tool you can grab with this tutor? Is there something else you can use to put pressure on the runner that isn't outright kill?
Yeah, looking through the list, it doesn't look like there is a one-step combo to turn a Grey Ops or a Black Ops or a liability into scoring an agenda. There is, however, ways to use those to generate tags and then to use tags to score agendas. So it's a bit of a two-step process.
Yeah. presumably involving Oppo. But then at that point, you're back to the age-old question of why are you fast advancing with your tags instead of just killing the runner?
Yes. When you know where the runner lives, why are you using it to complete projects when you could just shoot them in the head?
Sounds like the most optimal option. You know, if you need a runner gone, why do all of this techno stuff? Just like dox them and then go and put a round through their forehead. You know,
That has been the traditional way these decks play.
it's the efficient approach, is all I'm saying. Like, also financially, far more financially viable than hiring an entire team of techies to find the guy trying to hack your servers. Just get and shut him out and invest in all the cybersecurity. Just go and kill him.
It is
It is the Wayland way.
the Wayland Consortium way. So I guess that's the question: is do you think that Nihilo will only see play in editorial? Is currently the vibe then, but it will see play in every editorial deck.
It's definitely seeing play in editorial. I can see a world where it sees play outside of editorial. I just really do not want to live in that world because that means giving the runner a tag temporarily is so good for your game plan that like risking taking a bad pub is worth it. And that I can imagine such a deck existing. It sounds miserable to play against.
Now, the next card that I'm going to show you is a new identity for criminal, and that is Virtual Intelligence Private Investigator. You can call me Vic. Once per turn, for a click and a credit, draw a card and remove a tag. Now, we haven't yet seen any blue tag generation other than the previously known transfer of wealth, but one might assume, given that we have Virtual Intelligence PI coming out, that we may be seeing a more tag me playstyle being set up for blue.
Ooh. So this will be new territory for the faction then.
So the best blue identity ever was a tag me identity.
Okay.
That got banned and then rotated. And
Shit.
is I don't know if it's pointed in Eternal. I kind of just assume it is, but it might be too slow for Eternal. So Tag Me Crim has been a meta force before.
Do we know if there's any cards to support these two new ones, or is it kind of just these two?
So Transfer of Wealth we already have. That's an already released card. A very good card that sees play in every Crim deck, right? We haven't yet seen any more cards that enable taking tags, I don't think, as Crim for upside. But people are sort of assuming that you're going to see some more tags for upside.
How much is something like Praxis to import? How expensive is the Seb stuff to import?
So Seb stuff is not that expensive. Privileged access is 2 influence.
I mean, that sounds pretty good.
Now, in raw economy, what VIPI is basically doing is gluing together the click and clear a tag action. So normally you would spend a click to draw a card, or you would spend a click and 2 credits to remove a tag. And so this is kind of combining 2 clicks and 2 credits into 1 click and 1 credit in terms of the like raw efficiency maths of the card.
So it's a really efficient way to counter tag heavy decks.
Yeah, so both if they're trying to tag you and a way for you to not be eaten alive by trying to tag yourself.
I honestly don't know if that's good or not.
How much is Amanuensis to import?
That's a great question. So Amanuensis is a card that says with extra steps, when you clear a tag, draw 2 cards.
Ooh.
And Amanuensis is 3 to import.
Oof, yeah, that's probably too much.
That's what
Maybe
Seb is
1
playing for transfer.
I don't know that. Yeah, that sounds like pretty fucking busted if you can get that working.
You could spend 6 for Amanuensis and then 6 for transfer. That's 12 influence on Anarch cards. So you're kind of just playing, blue Seb instead of red Seb.
Yeah. I will say this has me a lot less excited than Seb has. This is just a lot less of an exciting ability.
Yeah, I mean, it could be good, but you'd need a fucking specific build for it. And if you're having to import a bunch of shit to make it work, it might not be the most optimal. But it still sounds pretty effective. Okay, well, hypothetically speaking, if these cards that do give you tags exist, then the card will be good. But if it releases to a set that's nothing to do with tagging, and it's kind of just a weird off card to be comboed into other stuff, then it kind of mid.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think a lot hinges on this speculated Crim card that gives you tags. As of right now, I think it's not quite enough. And if the extra card is only like okay-ish, I think it's gonna be like a playable deck, but not great.
Next up, we are going to round off with the final identity that has been revealed so far, and that is Melius U, only the brightest. When your discard phase ends, secretly set your identity to any copy of Melius U, only the brightest. When the runner makes a successful run on a central server, flip this identity. When the runner's action phase ends, gain 1 credit. I'm gonna walk you through how this works, because I don't think reading the card explains the card very well here. There are 3 copies of Melius U, all with this exact front face.
Okay.
So you cannot tell which copy of Melius U you are against at any given time. And at the end of each of your turns, you can swap to another one, including this one. So it's always correct to just pick it up, shuffle, and then put down a new one. If they don't run your servers, if they don't cause that condition to flip it to trigger, you are just gaining a credit a turn. And 1 credit per turn, Jinteki identity has an established pattern of being extremely playable. That's just good drip. So really what it comes down to is, are they going to risk running in order to turn it off? Now, the backsides are all symmetrical with each other. They all have the same effect text. The only thing that differs is whether they trigger off of a run on archives, a run on HQ, or a run on R&D. And so what they do is so functionally, you as the corp choose which server you're going to be attaching the effect to. If they run your discard pile, your hand, or your deck, you have to reveal which one you picked. If you picked correctly the one that they end up running, then you get to look at the top card of your deck, and if you want, you can send that card to your discard pile in exchange for adding any card from your discard pile back to your hand, including the one you just sent to the discard pile to pay the cost.
I already hate this, like logistically. Having to pick this up every time and shuffle every turn is seems like a clunky design.
I think realistically, you just like pick it up, put them under the table, put a new one down, put the other 2 to one side.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of faffing about for. So, a timing question first. If I put the trap on archives, can I rescue an agenda before?
Yes,
it gets
yes,
access?
You can. So the way it would work is they make a successful run. In response to the successful run, you reveal this. Right, sorry, they make a successful run. You flip it. You flip over which one? Disposal grounds. When you do that, you look at the top card, trash it, and pick up a card from bin, and then they access the cards in your discard pile. So you can like throw an agenda in your discard pile and just keep setting Melius U to disposal grounds to protect it. The bad case being obviously that you look at the top card of your deck and it's another agenda.
One. Yeah.
Are you understanding how the card works, Lou? Because there's a lot of text on this card.
Honestly, I'm having trouble sort of piecing together what it means, but essentially, if it kind of looks like the corp gets to choose where the runner goes.
So the high level fundamental of it is every turn, at the end of their turn, the corp chooses one of their central servers. So either their discard pile, their hand, or their deck, right? They secretly choose one of them. Then, if the opponent runs any of the 3, the corp has to reveal which one they secretly chose. So the runner gets to choose which one, if any, they want to run. If they reveal, if the corp kind of correctly predicted where the runner was going to run, then they get to discard the top card of their deck in exchange for adding a card from their bin to their hand. If the runner doesn't run, if the runner just like doesn't take the gamble of giving the corp that value, then they just get a credit.
I mean, this sounds like it's going to be a really popular pick for sort of high level play, but for people that are essentially able to predict where the runner is going to want to go, and are able to predict it consistently, it's just going to be free recycling of discarded shit, And even if you're not getting it right, or they didn't run anything at all, it's free money, and free money is good as far as I
Yep.
can tell.
Yep, 1 credit a turn. 1 credit a turn Jinteki was a very popular deck for a very long time.
Yeah, find me a card game where free money is a bad thing.
Yeah. So I think that the real wrinkle here is what Fanny mentioned, which is that you can use this to sort of not try and play the prediction game, but just effectively use it to protect a server, right? Because if you put it on your hand, then when they run your hand, you are able to effectively add another card to your hand, reducing the chance they randomly touch the card in your hand you don't want them to touch. Because when you hack into someone's hand, you only get 1 card at random. If you put it on your deck, then if they run your deck and the top card is an agenda, you can send it to your bin, and then if you want, bring it to your hand, basically removing it from where they were about to touch. And if you put it on archives, you can protect an agenda that's in there by bringing it back to your hand, right? So there's the mind game aspect of guessing correctly where they're going to run, but there's also just the raw value of being able to make a place more protected.
No, I mean, yeah, this is fucking busted then, right?
So, as Lucy previously mentioned, this identity essentially already exists. I don't recall the name for it, but it's like the base Jinteki.
Restoring Humanity, which says if there is a face-down card in your discard pile, gain a credit every turn.
And notably, gets to play a slimmer deck.
Yes, gets to be 40 cards instead of 45. Well, so 44 instead of 49 in practical cases.
Yeah, and so the extra, like both being able to be in. Well, I guess you can also interrupt Restoring Humanity, but this can both get interrupted. I would say easier because you can access any of the centrals, and you have to play the thicker deck. So the backside has to make up for that, and I'm not convinced it does. So I don't. This seems like a really weird card to print, I will say. Because this pretty much directly competes with Restoring Humanity, right?
Yeah, they are the 2 1 credit a turn Jinteki IDs.
Yeah, and I think like one of them will come out on top, I would think, because I feel like both these decks want to play very similar, just play good cards, kind of Netrunner. They're not really after killing the runner explicitly, at least not more than Jinteki just generally is.
So there's a flip side there, which is that for Restoring Humanity, it tends to play very defensive decks where you're putting down lots of ice. And therefore you're just like throwing, and you're sort of saying that it's not worth it for them to check the bin to turn off your 1 credit a turn, especially because it's really easy for you to turn it back on. With this, whether or not you want to go tall or wide is kind of unclear, and the meta will need to figure that out. Because going wide means that there's sort of more stuff to deal with that doesn't involve running centrals.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think if you're going wide, egg is just better, no? I think the idea for this is to replace Restore Humanity, but whether we'll do that just because it has that extra, because it has that 45 in that critical box there, I'm not sure about it.
So Lou thinks the effect is really strong. You think that it's competing. It's only ever really going to be the 1 credit a turn effect, and it's just competing with RH for that.
No, it's not only going to be that, right? Like the backside definitely adds value. I'm just not convinced it's enough value compared to playing a slimmer deck. Because if I recall correctly, it also means you get to play 1 less agenda, right? From like through the grapevine, I've heard things like a lot of decks got boxed out, like a lot of identities got boxed out just for the number that they have in the bottom left there, right? Like I think it was like Nuvem or something that was pretty bad for a while just because it has 50.
Yeah, Nuvem needs you to run a 54 card deck, although Nuvem did see a burst of play and became fairly competitive for a little bit.
So those 5 cards matter a lot, and I'm not sure the backside makes up for that.
So the next card I have to show you comes with a bit of context, because it's not going to be maybe as imminently obvious what its value proposition is. And the card in question is Flagship. So it's 3. It's an upgrade, which importantly means you can put it with other stuff in a server, so it doesn't have to just be on its own. And specifically for this one, it actually has to be attached to your hand or your deck. It costs 3 to activate, and it says that runs against this server cannot be declared successful. And then, during each run against this server, the runner can only access one card that isn't this upgrade. So if they had built an engine that was going to let them see like 3 cards in your hand, they're only seeing 1. They were going to see the top 5 cards of your deck, they're only seeing 1.
I mean, that seems pretty fucking busted, no? If you're going up against engines that rely on revealing their enemy's entire deck, being able to deny that for like 3 money is nuts.
I'd say the current baseline is there's the most common deck right now is aiming to see 3 cards on R&D when it hits R&D.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and you can attach this to R&D as well. So it's HQ R&D. So yeah, you just slap it on R&D, and it's just a free shut. Well, not free because it does cost 3 money, but yeah, it's a really effective shutdown. If that gives me the opportunity to like significantly slow down my opponent, then yeah, I'd be pretty happy to draw that.
Yeah. So it's worth noting that the opponent can get rid of it for 4 credits. But
it's expensive.
It's only guaranteed to work once, basically.
Yeah,
but you're never happy having to trash something for 4.
No.
Yeah, that's expensive
as a runner.
All right, Fally, what's your read?
So, as I mentioned previously, I played a bit of BTL. I played a bit of Hyperglacier BTL as well. And there was this very similar card that used to see play that has since rotated.
There was. It is called Chrysium Grid.
Yeah, exactly. So, the immediate thing I noticed is that usually you would put Chrysium on your archives, because that is usually your least defended, and there's a lot of like runner effects that can abuse your undefended archives. And you can't put this on archive, so that's an immediate minus point for the card.
So there is also a big difference, which is that Chrysium was a region, which means you could have one on archives, one on R&D. Flagship is a unique upgrade, which means you have to choose which server you put it on. You can only have it on hand or deck.
Yeah, but you get the extra protection against multi-access.
Yes, which Chrysium didn't give.
And so, like, obviously this goes into like the real slow decks, I would say, because Chrysium didn't see that play outside of the Hyperglacier Wayland, or Hyperglaciers in general, right? I'm pretty sure.
No, it didn't. With one exception, and that exception was people started bringing it as tech to protect against the card Deep Dive.
Against Deep Dive, but that no longer exists. So.
Which is being unbanned with the release of Vantage Point.
Oh God.
Okay.
It's about to re-exist.
So for your benefit, Lou, Deep Dive is a very powerful Shaper finisher that also saw play in an identity called Sable, who's getting banned. So let's not worry about that.
I see. I'm like, how are we bringing Deep Dive
the answer
back?
is by banning Sable.
I see.
By banning Sable and reprinting Chrysium Grid, we're bringing Deep Dive back. Now, what Deep Dive says is
a lot less splashable than Chrysium as well.
Now, what Deep Dive says is make 3 successful runs, see the top 8 cards of the deck.
That sounds insane.
Yep. And then steal one of them. And if you have found a way to manufacture an extra click, steal another one. Now, it's worth noting that manufacture a way to make an extra click is somewhere between like trivial and kind of a bit annoying. It's not like automatic and it's not insanely difficult, but you do have to like build your deck with doing that in mind, with the exception of Sable, which was a blue identity that just is guaranteed to always have an extra click when doing this. But that's getting banned. So
yeah, I can. You know what? I can kind of see why.
Deep Dive got banned. Yeah, Deep Dive got banned because Deep Dive Sable was a menace in the meta after Chrysium Grid rotated. So Chrysium Grid was kind of keeping it in check. Then Deep Dive caught a ban. Now we're getting rid of Sable. We're bringing back Chrysium Grid in the form of Flagship, and we're unleashing Deep Dive. So the question is, how much play is Flagship seeing?
I think not being able to put it on archives does make it a lot less generically useful.
Definitely into like the Seb matchup.
Yeah, Seb and also Crim, right? They get you access your hand through archives.
Yes, they have maintenance access and a couple other effects.
So I think that does make the card a lot more narrow. But I think, yeah, this thing is like, I mean, this is obviously tech, right? There's situations where you would never want to have this in the deck, and there's situations where you absolutely do want to have it in the deck. I think the like multi-access denial gives it enough value in most matchups where you're not unhappy to run this, even if you're not too unhappy to run this even in a matchup that isn't deep dive. So I think this card will definitely see play.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's going to be in a lot of green decks.
Now, in the spirit of bringing back cards that did exist and rotated, we have a card that is fixing a sort of card pool hole, which is that right now the purple faction doesn't have any good agendas. And this is an attempt to fix it with Melia City Luxury Line. So it's a 5/3, which means it is the class of agenda that you play when you're trying to reduce the amount of agendas you have and play a slower game, generally speaking. And it says, as an additional cost to steal this, the runner has to spend a click. And when you score this, you gain a click.
Shit, I don't know. It seems all right, and from what you've said, purple don't have any good agendas anyway. So
The current best performing purple deck plays almost entirely neutral agendas.
oh shit, okay. Jesus.
And really, really wants this effect.
Yes.
They're really happy about having this effect on an agenda.
Then yeah, I think it's going to be fucking all over the place because anything is better than nothing, especially when that anything is kind of okay.
Yeah, the deck that is strong is based on basically reducing your number of clicks to the point where you can't get in. And it's worth noting that if you don't get in with a spare click, you just can't steal this. It's not when you steal this, lose a click. It's as an additional cost to steal this, spend a click.
Jeez, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Yes, I do know. Yes, this will be pretty good. You will see it in purple decks because they don't have any other fucking options.
Fally?
And this is a good option. I think this is a very solid option.
What are you doing with your click? So you end up in a weird position where the turn you score this, you're just gonna have like you're gonna score it and you're just gonna have like a single click lying around.
Oh yeah, that's flavor text. That doesn't matter. I think I think they could have just put the first line there, and this would be like like that meme of where it's like a group of people 100%, like this group at 100% power level, and then the same group at 99% power level. It's just one guy left.
Yeah,
that's this card if you delete the last line.
So it's worth noting that this card is a rework of an old card that was a 5/3 that just had that first line, but you had to spend 2 credits as well.
Right.
So we've moved it from a click and 2 credits to just a click, but when you score it, you gain a click. So it's not completely blank when you score it.
Yeah, I mean this. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty fucking good now that I kind of get what it does.
Yeah, I think so. I've heard some rumblings through the grapevine because I talk with people who actually play the game, and from what I've heard, like Leo was pretty close to catching a ban at some point. Maybe potentially was the rumblings I heard.
I don't think Leo's ever been,
and I feel like this is the card that gets Leo banned.
I don't think Leo is close to catching a ban. I think it's that like everyone just got sick of Leo being the tier 1 correct deck to play.
Yeah, exactly.
But that kind of the meta sort of teched into Leo and solved that problem. That was one where like it was a very young meta and people hadn't really figured out how to play against Leo. Right now, despite no real ban changes, Leo is no longer one of the strongest decks.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I think this makes Leo significantly better, and it will see play in that deck.
I think it sees play in every purple deck. Most purple.
Yeah, I think it will see him play in loads of other purple. Well, there's currently no other purple decks, but
yeah, true. No, there is. So there is Combo PD. Combo PD is a really well performing purple deck right now.
Okay. Can they actually make use of the click then if they're doing
yeah they are like score like 7 points in a single turn style deck. They're not pushing it all the way. They tend to like do a turn where they score 2 or 3 and then another turn where they score 4 or 5. But there are some pretty like nuts decks right now in terms of purple fast advance.
I think this card will get something banned. Is my call. I think this card is insane enough to get something banned. Because like you mentioned, purple wasn't completely unplayable with having to mostly rely on neutral agendas, and now they have a really, really good agenda.
So it is worth noting that Ikawa Project was never banned and never got anything else banned. So do you think that like the game is in a place where MCLL is going to be that much more powerful?
I think. I mean, from what the impression I've got from playing it a little bit, it seems like the power level has come down quite a bit from that standard rotation, and like again, I think this card is like, I think the click is the more relevant part in the credits here on Ikawa for sure. I think you would rather have having to spend the extra click than the 2 credits. So I think this is still a lot of Ikawa.
Talking of bold cards, we have another card that is a retrain of an older card, this time in Let Them Dream. It's a 4/2, so it's an on-rate agenda, can see play pretty much anywhere. When you score this agenda, you can search hand, deck, and discard for an agenda, reveal it, and either add it to your hand or to the bottom of your deck. While this agenda is in the runner's score area, it is worth 1 less point. So it is a 4/1 for the runner, a 4/2 for the core.
Contextually to the other agendas I know about, having to reveal one of your other agendas to the runner seems pretty fucking bleak, no?
Yeah, if you're adding it to hand. Do you care if you're revealing it, if you're just putting it on the bottom of your deck?
I I guess not. I mean, it depends how much of that fucking deck you're gonna get through, right?
You can pretty much assume, unless a shuffle effect happens, that the bottom card of the deck is removed from the game functionally.
Okay, how common are
So-
shuffles?
Unless you're playing one specific deck very young.
Except for one specific deck, every single corp deck is planning on shuffling their deck 3 times in the game, and only generally to protect agendas.
Okay, well, if you use this shit after you've shuffled, then yeah, absolutely insane. Because it means you're just removing an agenda from your deck essentially and making it inaccessible. And hell, even and then this agenda itself being worth 1 less point in a runner's scoring pool is kind of good as well, right?
Yeah, if they steal it, then they get 1 less point. If you score it, you can just remove 3 points from the game.
Yeah, which is fucking I feel like that's pretty fucking good, right?
Okay, we're gonna go with air, followed
Maybe?
by that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the art's cool. I like the stadium. Yeah, this one gets you 5 gigabytes.
Fally?
Very pretty art for sure.
It is. Edvatian knocked it out of the park with this one.
I think so. If you get to resolve this card, it is really, really good in Glacier, right? Because you're hiding an agenda, making it harder for the runner to win, and it also itself helps the runner less with winning. I'm sure there's some despicable agenda math you can do with this, where you're like,
where
you're just thinning your points.
Yup. It is very much so. It is equivalent to them having effectively. I think it works out to like 8 or 9 more non-agendas in the deck.
The good parts of this card want you to be in a Glacier deck, but then scoring a 4/2 in a Glacier, if you manage to do that, you're already like pretty winning, I would say. Like the difference between scoring a 4/2 and the 5/3 is not that much, I would say. For in terms of how difficult it is, like you need to be shields down essentially for a turn, and like hard block the runner from getting into the server, right?
Currently, there are decks that are fast advancing 5/3s in both both green and purple. So
yes.
not necessarily
in a Glacier, like in a Glacier.
Yeah,
list,
in a Glacier
right?
list, you want to leave this on the table for a turn.
Yes. So I think the effect is stronger in a Glacier list, but it can still add to hand, and in a faster going deck, that's a lot easier to do, to actually resolve the scoring effect.
I was going to
So
say,
this is a very interesting card because it can just grab something to hand for the quicker.
yeah, I was going to say, do you think in like a rush deck you just use this to start wheeling through your agendas? And like you use Let Them Dream to add Let Them Dream to hand, and you say, "Come get it. It's only 1 point."
Yeah. I think that is the more likely play pattern here. Actually, I think the Glacier part is a bit. Okay, so I think the for Glacier decks, this mostly lives off the fact that it only is worth one agenda. A point. I think that's the more operative part here because I think you're not scoring this out very consistently in a Glacier deck because you usually have better things to do than scoring out 2 points.
Yep.
Like clicking for credits, for example.
This is a retrain of an older card called Global Food Initiative, which was just a 5/3 that was only worth 2 to the runner. And this is widely heralded as one of the best agendas of all time. So the question is, does the change to it being a 4/2 and then all the extra weirdness with manipulating your agendas leave it at the tier or have it fall off from that best agenda of all time tier?
I think this is a very powerful card for sure.
Okay, so you're both going with very powerful. Well, I can tell you that not only is this card almost certainly very powerful, bit of Netrunner history being made with this card because it is being printed onto a ban list.
Oh my god. Jesus.
It
is banned in startup on release.
All right, yeah, that makes sense because you guys are already struggling with too few agenda density. Yes, so startup already puts a limit on how much agenda compression you're allowed to do with just being able to play 5/3s.
So startup is already trying to like prevent you from getting agendas out of the game and forcing you to play more agendas. And this is an agenda that's worth less points and lets you remove 3 points from the game.
Yeah, okay, Jesus. Yeah, printed onto a ban list though. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, okay. I'm like something out of Leo is getting banned because this is also a wet dream for Leo.
Yeah.
Well, they don't like banning identities, but something in Leo is getting the hand.
Well, we got 2 identity bans with the ban list for this set, so I think they're a bit more on the chopping block than they have been historically. Of the new cards you've been shown, which one do you think is the coolest? Which do you think is the most interesting? And which do you think is the most likely to get banned?
I'm oh shit. I really like the Melee City luxury line.
Yep.
Melee
City luxury line. Yeah, Melee City luxury line.
Yeah, that's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna show up an awful lot, and I also, I really like the sort of. I really like that it's patching what sounds like a very glaring hole in one of the factions. In one of the factions layouts, that it's nice to see. It's nice to see stuff like that being patched up. And I think Leo is probably safe, but I wouldn't be surprised if Let Them Dream, if it's already being printed onto a ban list, like it's on the quick start ban list already. I kind of wouldn't be surprised if that one goes away in 6 months. Because it is incredibly busted and sounds pretty unfun to fight against as well. Because I don't know how they do their ban lists for Netrunner, but I would assume if it's powerful and kind of boring, it's probably quite susceptible to getting axed, right?
There's been a few like negative play experience bans. Bans tend to be purely focused on power level, though.
I think the coolest cards are. Well, yeah, I think coolest cards here. I think there's 2: is Nihilo and Stick and Poke, just because they tickle my engine building brain because they do nothing on their own. So there you get to actually like build something funny out of them.
Nihilo is Stick and Poke is card draw.
It's filtering at best. Very bad filtering. But like, I see the vision. You like or is Raindrop even a card anymore?
Yeah.
Or did that
Raindrops is a card.
Yeah. You Raindrop through a piece of ice and it's sweet value. Hey.
It hits the.
I can see the vision. I think it's gonna be unplayable, but I can see the vision.
It hits the steel skin out of your hand. You draw your entire deck. You just you got to figure out a way to go from drawing your entire deck to winning.
Yeah, because like raindrops is one of my favorite cards in this game. Just hitting a raindrops for sick value feels so good. So yeah, it's that kind of thing that stick and poke is very obviously trying to pay off, but I don't think it will be enough, but it will be sweet whenever it works.
All right, and then what's catching a ban?
I mean, let them dream, right? Like I can absolutely see a world where this is just a 3-off in every single playable corp deck. I can see that timeline happening.
It being a 4-2 is interesting as well, because GFI was one of the best as a 5-3, but most decks only want to play 2 5-3s. Everyone's happy to play 3 3-4s, 3 4-2s.
Yeah, I mean, happy is a big word. I think 4-2 is a lot worse of a stat line than 5-3, right? It's in my experience, 4-2 is the worst stat line an agenda can have.
No, 3-1 is the worst stat line an agenda can have.
3-1s at least you can put down and don't have to advance them, and you can just advance them,
I guess,
from empty.
Where
4-2s are real clunky.
Fast advance is not a super prevalent strategy using 3-1s right now. It's mostly using 3-2s and 4-1 and 4-2s and 5-3s.
No, not fast advancing. I mean, just like slap it. You 3-1s you can just put on the table, and then you can spend your next turn advancing it if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
And you're good, right?
Yeah.
Where a 4-2 you cannot do that, right? You need to advance it. You need to advance it over at least two turns.
Yeah.
I guess a 4-1 would be worse, but I don't know if that's ever existed.
Yeah, I don't know that it has, and it doesn't currently, definitely.
And obviously 5-2 would be worse as well. If that
5-2 is a stat line, and people hate it.
Yeah,
it's only printed onto the most miserable misery generator cards ever created.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Shout out to Sisyphus Protocol for like your opponent scores it and you kind of just want to concede.
They knew what they were doing with that one.
It's 2 points and it's not game ending, right? Like it's not a 5-3, it's a 5-2. That's below rate. But also you kind of want to concede the second it's scored.
Yeah, but again, I think the jump from 3 to 4 is a lot bigger than the jump from 4 to 5 is, because again, like I said, you can put it down on the table on advance and then advance to the next turn if you want to.
Yeah, I will say that I think that's less true for purple decks right now. Purple decks can pretty consistently, like 3 and 4 are basically the same number to purple decks, whereas 5 is a bit more annoying.
Yeah, but like, yeah, but I mean, you're not playing Sisyphus in purple, right?
No, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, very true.
Yeah, and it's just, yeah, no, I see a world where Legendary is a 3-off in every corp deck and it gets banned. Absolutely, I think that can happen.
Well, that's all the cards I have for you today. We will be reconvening later on in preview season with a video coming out on the 27th, where not only will we be looking at the collection of cards that have been previewed throughout the community preview season, we will also be having our very own exclusive preview to share with the world. So everyone can look forward to that. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe. It all helps the algorithm, and we'll see you on the 27th.